winch.
I'll turn my video on this one. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome to the workshop with Mufti Muneer. Assalamu alaikum. I think that's Shafi'i Pen joining us, mashallah. We'll be starting, inshallah, in a couple of minutes, as soon as the Shaykh joins us. So just give us a couple more minutes and we'll get started. Assalamu alaikum, everyone, for those joining once again. Inshallah, we'll be starting in a couple of minutes. So we're just waiting on the Shaykh. Inshallah, after that, we'll get started.
How long will the meeting be for?
We're here until 6.
Okay, sure.
Mm.
Walaikum salam.
So alaikum Saad, how you doing, man?
Alhamdulillah, I'm doing well. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
So in wait for the Sheikh, we can just talk a little bit. We want to get to know where everyone's calling in from. So inshallah, you can unmute yourself and let us calling in from or joining us. Ammar Abdul Fattah. I think, oh, we got two people. Wa alaikum salam. Diarno, go ahead, inshallah.
It's Jamal
Where are you
Yunus
calling in from?
Gallo, calling from Brooklyn, New York.
MashaAllah. Let's move on to Ammar.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum, Saad. What's going on, bro?
Wa alaikum salam, Habibi. How are you doing?
Alhamdulillah. I'm good, bro. I'm calling in from Edith.
MashaAllah. I can hear the horns in the background.
Never stop, bro.
Inshallah, you're having fun there. We'll go to, inshallah, you guys can all change your names as well to your real name. So it's not user one. We got 3 user ones here. Oh, assalamu alaikum, the Sheikh's joined us. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. It's a pleasure having you here, inshallah. So now we can get the workshop started. Jazakallah khair for everyone joining and joining the iLead conference. This is going to be a virtual workshop with Shaykh Mufti Muneer. Inshallah, I'll give a short introduction before we go ahead. So today's session will be for brothers only. It's a brothers only workshop where we will discuss some of the wisdoms on how to deal with challenges of becoming a man. This session is a rare opportunity to engage personally with a scholar on challenges Muslim brothers face and how to overcome them through the example of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, a little bit about our Shaykh. Mufti Muhammad ibn Muneer is a dynamic speaker born and raised in Philadelphia. After studying in Yemen, Mufti completed his Bachelor and Master's Degree from the Islamic University of Madinah and is currently pursuing his PhD. Despite his concentration in Hadith, he has a strong passion to teach Fiqh. His classes are known to be very engaging, interactive, and full of discussion and questions and answers. Mufti had the opportunity to study under some very well-known shayūkh of our time, including Shaykh Abdul Muhsin al-Abbad. Without any further ado, Shaykh, we give you the floor, and inshallah we'll all benefit over here.
Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Thank you very much, Akhi, for the warm welcome. I thank you and I thank all of your colleagues, all of your comrades, all of the brothers and sisters behind the scenes responsible for organizing and putting together this virtual meeting. May Allah Azza wa Jal give you both the tangible beneficial information and the actual spiritual reward. Allahumma ameen. It would be better, alhamdulillah, if we were in person, sitting, drinking tea together, but perhaps another time, by Allah's permission. So with regards to the topic as such, the challenges, the responsibilities, the duties of becoming a man, rites of passage. That's a tough topic, to be honest with you. It's a topic that I haven't found all the answers yet. I myself am still navigating through many avenues and aspects of becoming and being and staying a man. Listen carefully. Becoming a man, being a man. Once you become a man, whether through choice or by force, you're 18, you're 16, you get kicked out the house, you've left the house, or whether it's your choice. I'm tired of being a little kid. I don't want to be a little boy anymore. I want to be a man. That's one thing. But now, how do I stay a man? Because there's so many different things in our society that tear away at the fabric of manhood and of masculinity, manliness. Things that are physical, things that are spiritual, things that are mental, psychological, with regards to finance, with regards to recreation, with regards to habit, sexuality, diet, clothing, fashion, sports, entertainment, news, politics. There's so many different aspects of attacking manhood and attacking masculinity. And just because you become a man doesn't mean that you'll stay a man. So that's dangerous and that's scary. That's a serious topic. And I myself, I'm still navigating through not all, but many of these aspects. Okay, what it is and what it isn't to be a man in al-Islam, trying to follow the Quran and Hadith and the example of our blessed, beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So I thank you guys and I commend you guys for picking such a comprehensive topic. So how to be a man, how to stay a man, and what are some of the challenges that one faces, and what are the solutions of those challenges? How do we hurdle and jump over and leap over those obstacles that lay in our path? First and foremost is manhood. Becoming a man, staying a man has always been something which is sacred. And it's always been something which is of the utmost importance in all societies, all religions, all faiths, all colors, all tans and tones and levels of melanin, black, white, yellow, and red. Every culture, you'll find that a man becoming a man and staying a man was always considered to be a focal point of their society. Now,
Can you keep yourself muted, guys? Yeah, sorry about that.
okay, no problem. So from around the world, the different religions, different faiths, different races and cultures, they have different ways of commemorating and celebrating manhood. Just they have different ways of celebrating and commemorating womanhood. When a young woman gets her first menstrual cycle, many societies and cultures to this day, they make a party because she's a woman. The girl's embarrassed, she's ashamed, my body is changing. No, I don't want to be like this. I don't want to have this. But the older women know that it's a major step in my daughter's life. And the same applies to a boy, whether it be circumcision, whether it be him reaching puberty, whether it be him graduating from high school, whether it be the first time he gets married, whether it be the first time he makes a successful hunt, or he's sent out to the world for 2 weeks, go to the forest and don't come back after 2 weeks. Many societies, they would force the young man, they would kick him out of the village. They would give him a bow, an arrow, and that's it. You have to fend for yourself for 2 full weeks or a month. Then you come back and now you're a man, etc., etc., etc. And once in our modern times, there was a Jewish man. He had a non-Jewish co-worker or employee. And he said, you know, we've been together for some time. We've been friends. You've been working with me. You're faithful. I want to invite you to my house. And I want you to come and eat some good Jewish food, you know, some beef brisket, this, and I want you to have some real authentic stuff and learn a little bit about our culture and our way of life. So the non-Jewish man, he said, okay, of course, sure, no problem. He says, what's the event? Is it a wedding? Is it a funeral? Some such? He said, no, it's a bar mitzvah. He said, oh, okay. He says, do you know what a bar mitzvah is? The non-Jewish man says, yeah, it's when a young boy is 16 and such and such and such. He says, no, it's not a bar mitzvah. He said a bar mitzvah is when a boy is no longer told that he can become a basketball player, but he's told that he can own a basketball team. Think about that. The bar mitzvah is when we stop telling him you can play basketball and we tell him that you can own a basketball team. You see the jump in the mindset, the boyish mindset versus the manly mindset, playing, having fun versus owning and controlling, administering, governing. So the moral of the story is not talk about basketball or Jews or non-Jews or money or politics, etc. The moral of the story is that coming of age, whether it is with a spear, a bow, and an arrow, whether it is from a few dollars to a debit card to a credit card, whether it's dribbling a basketball to having the ambitions and the aspirations to owning an entire basketball franchise. So it's something that has always been of great importance to people. And that's because the men are supposed to be the protectors. They're supposed to be those who will keep the people safe, keep them in well-being. And if we don't train them how to do things by themselves, for themselves, and we don't teach them the old ways and allow them to introduce themselves to the new ways, then everyone will suffer and everyone has the potential to be ruined. So that's first and foremost. And al-Islam, Allah Azza wa Jalla, he talks about men and he talks about manhood. And he talks about puberty. And he talks about people reaching. He talks about people growing and how there are differences in what they are and are not allowed to do once they become young men. Children entering upon you, walking into your bedroom, seeking permission, knocking, not allowed to come into the bedroom at this age. الَّذِينَ يَبْلُغُونَ, he says, or those who لَمْ يَبْلُغُوا الْحُلْمَ مِنْكُمْ, those who haven't reached puberty from amongst you, etc. The Prophet ﷺ, he tells us with regards to when children are 7, with regards to when children are 10, what we should and what we should not do. The Prophet ﷺ, he speaks about a man spending, a man fighting, a man marrying, a man divorcing, a man living and dying, etc., etc., etc. So what are the challenges of manhood? Or what does it mean to be a man as a Muslim? Does it mean being macho, having muscles, being brawny? Does it mean having a lot of testosterone, having a real big, great, gigantic ego? Is that what a man means in Islam? Does it mean that if I'm a man, I pay bills, I'm paying this mortgage, the rent, I own this house, so I'm a man of my household? Does a man in Islam, does it mean that you control your wife, you dominate your wife, you tell her what to do, she cooks, she cleans, and you have full authority over her? Is that what it means to be a man in Islam? Does being a man in Islam mean that you beat your wife, you abuse your wife, you verbally abuse her, you tell her her place, you remind her of her place? Was that what's meant by being a man? Is being a man in Islam micromanaging your wife and your children and your household? Or does being a man mean that I can now do whatever I want to do? I can leave the house. I don't have to listen to my parents. I don't have a curfew anymore. I can go with whom I want to go with. I can drink and smoke and do whatever I want to do. As we oftentimes think in America and Canada, being an adult, I'm free. What's the first thing about people think about when they become an adult? They think about driving their own cars. I can now smoke. I can buy alcohol. It's the first thing that they think about. I don't have to listen to my parents. I'm free. But how many of them realize I'm now more responsible? More is expected of me. More is needed from me. I now have a duty to myself, to my family, to society, etc., etc., etc. So it's all about how we look at things. Sight and perception, and the Islamic sight, the Islamic perception, of course, is the best, and it is the most thorough. So something that we need to talk about and something that we need to discuss is, what is manhood? That's number one. Secondly is, how do we attain this manhood? How do we become men? Is it just a number? Is it just an age? And thirdly, what are some of the dangers that our Muslim youth face with regards to reaching manhood and with regards to maintaining their manhood? So as far as what is a man in Islam, first and foremost, we have to understand is that male and female are different. From one aspect, they're the same. Men are like women, similar wants, similar needs. They have souls. They have responsibilities, duties, rights. They get good rewards. They can get bad deeds. There's heaven, there's hell from both men and both women. As the Prophet ﷺ said, إِنَّمَا النِّسَاءُ شَقَائِقُ الرِّجَالِ, is that women are nothing more than the partners of men. They're the twins of men. But Allah says, وَلَيْسَ الذَّكَرُ كَالْأُنثَى, but the male baby is not like the female baby. The baby boy is not like the baby girl. They are different. And some people say with regards to Mars and Venus, men are from this planet and women are from that planet. So are men and women the same, or are they different? We say is that certain things are equal, no difference, parallel. And there are other things which are very, very different between male and female, men and women. So what does Islam tell us about what a man is? First and foremost is you have to understand two things. One is that a part of obtaining manhood is in your hands. You control it. You dominate it. You control your destiny. And from another aspect, a part of being or becoming a man or staying a man is out of your hands. You can't control it. It's beyond your reach. So some years back when I was younger, there was a famous toy store here in America. And the name of the toy store was Toys R Us. Now, unfortunately, they went out of business. It was a big toy store. Nowadays, they have different supermarkets. They have Walmarts, Targets. They have malls. They have toy sections. But when I was growing up, you could go to just a toy store, a mega store just for toys. And we had all of the models, all of the bikes, all of the lightsabers, all of the action figures, everything. But things change. And the slogan of this toy store back in the day was, I'm a Toys R Us kid. I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. I don't want to grow up. And I want to remain a kid. I want to remain a child. I want to have fun forever. So from one aspect, you don't have a choice with regards to becoming a man. And that's because your body is going to age. You're going to go through puberty. Okay? The pituitary gland is going to sprout. Your body is going to change. It's going to develop. Your Adam's apple, your voice, the hair on your body, things are going to happen to you at nighttime, in the morning, things that are out of your hands. So you don't have power over becoming a man. That's number one. But at the same time, there are things that you do control and that you can control, such as your habits, such as your mindset, how you think, how you look at life. Like we said, like that Jewish man said, playing basketball versus owning a basketball team. The boy wants to just play and have fun and dribble the ball, but the man wants to take a leap into the future. He's thinking about the future. It's a different ambition. So one aspect of becoming a man is there's no choice. It's inevitable. And the second aspect is something that you must make the choice, make that step into becoming responsible for your actions and also enjoying the things that you get by being a man. All right. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who gives intelligence and knowledge. Allah is the one who makes responsible, who makes irresponsible. Allah is the one who makes firm and who makes weak. Allah is the one who grants goals, dreams, and ambitions. And he's the one who allows those goals, those dreams, and those ambitions to become true or not to become true. So that aspect of manhood is in Allah's hand. But the other aspects of manhood is in your hand. And you have to make that choice if and when you're ready to act like a man. If and when you're ready to act like a grown-up. Or you want to be a little kid for the rest of your life. All right, another point which is very important is that being a Muslim man, first and foremost, is the responsibility towards Allah. Being a Muslim man is not having a license, not owning a house, not having control over a woman, but is you knowing that Allah sees me, Allah hears me, Allah watches me, and I am responsible for my spiritual duties to Allah. As the Prophet ﷺ said to a man who wasn't yet a man at the time, he was a young boy, he was adolescence, he was going towards puberty. He said, Ya ghulam, inni mu'allimuka kalimatin, ihfadillaha yahfadka, ihfadillaha tajidhu tujahaka. He says, oh young man, let me teach you some words of advice. Let me give you some golden advice. Number one, protect Allah, Allah will protect you. Protect Allah, Allah will be in front of you. When you ask Allah. When you seek help from Allah. So the Prophet ﷺ, he told Ibn Abbas, in other words, that the most important aspect of being a man is your mental consciousness of your religious duties as a Muslim. It's not time to smoke weed and drink alcohol, but me being a man is to be mindful of Allah watching me and seeing me and hearing me. Once this is understood, everything else becomes relatively easy. As Allah Azza wa Jalla says, وَلَا تَكُونُوا مِنَ الَّذِينَ نَسُوا اللَّهَ. Allah says, وَلَا تَكُونُوا كَالَّذِينَ نَسُوا اللَّهَ فَأَنْسَاهُمْ أَنفُسَهُم. Allah says, and do not be like those. وَلَا تَكُونُوا كَالَّذِينَ نَسُوا اللَّهَ. Do not be like those who have forgotten Allah. فَأَنْسَاهُمْ أَنفُسَهُم. And thus, Allah has made them forget themselves. Meaning, they forgot about Allah, their duties to Allah. So Allah caused them to forget about the benefits and the basic things that they need in their lives. Those who are furthest from Allah, their lives are further away from order and structure and wholesomeness. And that's a fact. That's a proven fact. You see people who leave Islam, they no longer practice Islam, they stop studying Islam. Look at their lives. Their lives fall out of order. Marriage, children, finances, their health, they don't look the same anymore because they've been made to forget about what's good and needed for them. So the first step and the most important ingredient of a Muslim man is not the size of his ego. It's not the size of his wallet. It's not the size of his sexual organ. It's not the size of his bank account. It's not the size of his muscles, but it's the size of his soul and the size of his heart. And there's a hadith, a very famous hadith, which is not authentic. The Prophet didn't say this. This is a very interesting hadith, though. The Prophet hadith that says that Allah says, the hadith Qudsi, that the heavens can't contain me. Earth cannot contain me. No place can contain me, but the heart of my believing slave contains me. Think about that now. Think about how big your heart is, how big your soul is. Think about how obedient you are as a Muslim. That is the sign of a Muslim man. Praying on time, fasting, making zakat, making and doing your other Islamic responsibilities. That's the sign of a Muslim. Well, number two is to realize is that you have rights and you have responsibilities. There are things that you deserve, things that you should expect and look forward to. And then there are things that people deserve and they should look forward to from you. You can't run from it. I don't want to do this because I don't want people to think it's not about what you want anymore. Well, my wife, but it's not about what you want. You now exist to take care of your wife, to serve your children, to serve your community. Or my parents, they're trying to control me. They're trying to run me. They want me to do this. Well, you don't have a choice now. The roles have been reversed. There was a time in which they took care of you. They changed your diaper. They fed you. They took you outside to play. Your father carried you on his shoulders. He picked you up when you were tired of walking. Now he's weaker. His back is weaker. You don't have a choice. You don't have an option. You have to help them out. You have to serve them. And that's a part of being a Muslim man. Number three, very, very crucially important ingredient of a Muslim man is to realize that you must be a role model. You have to be a role model, whether you realize it or not. You may not want to be a role model. You may look at yourself as being an average person, a simple person. I'm a basic person. I'm no one special. But just because you're a Muslim man, people are waiting for what you're going to do. And they're looking for what you're going to do. And they're expecting your decision. And they're looking at your behavior. All right? And whether you realize it or not, you are representing Allah and His deen. You're representing the Muslims. So be mindful of your actions. So these are some of the most important and some of the most crucial ingredients of a Muslim man. Religious duties, spiritual consciousness or conscientiousness, okay? Realizing that you have things for you and things against you. There is responsibility, just like there is nobility. There's an advantage. Anyone who's ever played sports, you know the advantage of being a leader. It's tough being a leader. It's hard being a coach. It's hard being a quarterback. It's hard being a team captain. You take the fall, you take the responsibility, but look what comes with it. Look at the honor, look at the fun, look at the joy that you get from you being at the head of your team. And that's the nature of life. And if you're unwilling to accept that, then why live? If you can't accept that things in life are for you in your favor, and there are other things in life that are against you and out of your favor, that's how it works. You can't have your cake and eat it too. And that mental realization is extremely important to teach your son. Listen, son, when you become a man, you can't just play all day. You can't have fun all day, but there's things that you can do and things that you can no longer do. And this is one of the problems when young brothers get married and they lack maturity. The wife is at home waiting for the husband to come home. He says, I want to have fun. I want to go laugh and drink. I want to, have fun with the brothers. We went out to to go get some coffee, Starbucks or Canada, Tim Hortons. We're sitting around. I want to have fun. She's sweating me. She's bothering me. She's honking me. When are you going to come home? When are you going to spend time with me? We're waiting for you. The kids, you're not a little boy anymore. And you have to have that realization. Okay. Now, with regards to age, is age a standard for manhood? Someone who's 18 is automatically a man. Someone who's 30 is automatically a man. And someone who's 10 or 12 is automatically a boy. We say no. There are people who are wise that are young. And there are people who are very foolish that are old. There are young men that have been taught, or not taught, but forced to learn responsibility and to grow up fast. Once when I was studying in Yemen, there was a brother there who was from Bosnia. And he told me that he was alive during the war. And he explained to me what happened. He said, they killed my father. They killed my grandfather. They killed my uncle. They killed my brothers. He said, they wiped out all men in my family. And I was the only one by Allah's mercy who escaped and who left. So seeing his father shot in the head or bulldozed by a tank or blown up by an RPG missile, whatever the case may be. What do you think went through his mind and his head of responsibility and of duty? Do you think he said, I can keep playing and kicking the soccer ball around, or I have no choice now but to protect my mother, protect my daughters, my sisters, protect my grandmother? I'm the one who goes out and who makes the money and brings it home for the family. So just because he was young doesn't mean that he wasn't a man. And just because someone who's older or owns a house or has big muscles or graduated from Medina or has a big beard or has a big fat bank account, that doesn't mean that he's a man. And that doesn't mean he's responsible. And that doesn't mean he's mindful of his duties towards Allah, towards himself, and towards the people. So therefore, there are things which are tricky. Many people, they look at, oh, he's this age, he's a man. He's that age, he's not a man. Manhood is oftentimes a mentality. And after the mentality is established, then comes the physical aspect of manhood, is that a man has the ability to reproduce. A man has the ability to do this. He's reached sexual maturity. The man has the physical strength to do certain things that a boy would be too weak to do, etc., etc. So what are some of the problems, or what are some of the challenges that Muslim boys face reaching manhood, or that Muslim men face at keeping and maintaining their manhood? One of the greatest harms is incarceration, being locked up, going to jail. When you go to jail, doesn't mean that you're now a boy again, you're no longer a grown man. But what manhood do you have in jail? There's someone who tells you when you eat. There's someone who tells you when you sleep. There's someone who tells you when and how you can use the bathroom. There's someone who tells you how you can and cannot dress. There's someone who tells you when you can and cannot pray or exercise. There's someone who tells you where you can and cannot go. You're behind these bars until we say so. You realize that you have relinquished your freedom. You've given up your freedom. And incarceration and lack of freedom is one of the greatest violations of one's manhood. And our Muslim youth, no doubt about it, they're at extreme risk and great danger of losing their manhood or not reaching it through incarceration. And that's because my son, I feed him, I clothe him, I allow him to have fun, I give him a good education, but he doesn't want to go to work. He doesn't want to make money. He doesn't want to have a wife at home. He wants to be a gangster. He wants to go outside and play with guns. He wants to smoke weed. He wants to have tattoos on his face and his arm and his neck. He wants to go out and practice foolishness instead of what I taught him and how I taught him of how he can live and what he can accomplish. So therefore, if you're in the streets, you're involved with those people, you're involved with that lifestyle, drugs, alcohol, money, guns, girls, scandalous women, so on and so forth, what's going to happen to you? Where are you going to be in 5-10 years? What end is there for that lifestyle? And in most cases, 9 out of 10 times, it's going to be you being dead, young, or you being in jail for the rest of your life, or 20 years, or 30 years, and 40 years. You come out after 40 years of prison. What is the world going to be like? How can you live a normal life after coming home being in jail all of those years? You're relinquishing your freedom. How can you be a man? You don't know what to do. You don't know how to live. You don't know how to survive. So one of the biggest problems for our Muslim youth is the culture of thinking and feeling that they're tough, and thinking and feeling that it's cool to put a tattoo in your face, and it's cool to smoke and to drink until you burn all of your brain cells, and it's cool to just do whatever you want to do, and that's being whatever the case may be. That's a big problem, whether it be through music, movies, media, bad influences, whether it be from abuse. Many people, they bash gangs, they talk about gangs, they talk about the streets, they talk about rap, they talk about hip hop, they talk about drugs, but what love do you show to your son? Do you have any love, any attention for your son? Do you make him feel loved? But those gangsters, they show him love. They welcome him into their circle, etc. Number 2, of course, substance abuse. Whether that substance be alcohol, alcoholism will destroy manhood. You can't be a man spending all your money on alcohol. You're pissy drunk. What man can you possibly be? How can you take care of a household? How can you save money? How can you make money? Let alone narcotics, pornography. How can you be a man and you spend all of your time watching pornography? How can you be a man and you can't sleep with your wife? You can't please your wife sexually because it doesn't excite you. It doesn't entice you. You can't have a son You have major problems with your body because you've watched so much pornography. You've done so many other bad things. That's another major threat to the manhood of our Muslim children. Also is the emasculation of men through fashion. No one dresses like that except for some old-fashioned type of guy or some barbaric type of guy, or, you know, wear the tight stuff, or let it be see-through, or let it be shorter, or, you know, spend an hour at the barbershop, spend an hour in front of the mirror, pay $500 for those shoes, pay $1,000 for this jacket, you know, give so much time and attention. We're the biggest, fanciest, flashiest brand names. And in actuality, your face, earrings, glasses, this and that, your shoes, you look like a woman. And it's not saying that you can't be handsome, that you can't smell good and look good, that you can't be clean, but a man is not supposed to spend an hour in the mirror. That's what a woman does. That's her nature, to be beautiful and pretty. A man, this, that, boom, come on, that's it, done. I look good, I smell good, it's all right, bismillah. That's it. So there are many things that can violate and attack a young Muslim boy becoming a man and staying a man. Inshallah ta'ala, we can stop here. If the brothers and sisters that have questions, things that they would like to add, I have no problem with that, inshallah ta'ala. Jazakumullah khairan.
Jazakumullah khair, Shaykh. Wa iyyakum. Barakallahu feek. That was very beneficial and direct talk that we can take from. One question posed is that, what is a challenge that boys face that you feel is overlooked in the community?
Overlooked in the community, a challenge that they face. Similar to what I said in the talk, the reality of pressure, the reality of temptation and lust. Many parents, they'll tell their sons, oh, don't get married. You don't need to get married. You can't get married yet. Why not, father? You're not ready. You're too immature. You're too much of a kid. You can't clean your room. You can't straighten your room. Or you get married after you get your master's. After you finish dentist school, you get married. You just want to have sex. Marriage is more than sex, son. You can't just get married just to have sex. This is what the father tells the son. Okay, no problem. I can't get married. My father, he won't approve of the marriage, etc. No problem. But his father doesn't realize is that when he came to America in 1986 or 1990 or 1975, America or Canada is not like 2021. There was no internet back then. There were no iPhones. There was no high-speed data back then. There was no face recognition and retina, etc. The world of temptations and lust, the pressure that the Muslim young man feels is different than how it was back then. So many people, they overlook at the strength of evil. And the first rule is never to underestimate your adversary, period. Never underestimate your enemy. And Sun Tzu and others, they have said in the great ancient military classics of ancient China, he who holds his enemy in contempt will soon be his enemy's captive. Think about that. Let it ponder over that word. He who scorns his enemy and looks down upon him will soon be the captive of his enemy. So if you overlook the reality of college, these people are pressuring me to have illegal sex. They're pressuring me to watch pornography. They're pressuring me to do this and to do that. And I have no lawful outlet. What do you think is going to happen? So this is a big problem that many parents, they make. They want their children to live in this perfect utopia, this bubble of perfection and purity. And it's an extreme disservice to the child. So this is one of the aspects under which many general aspects fall, and that is underestimating peer pressure and underestimating the reality of the temptations of the dunya. Wallahu alam.
Jazakumullah khair, Shaykh. Once again, another question that's been posed to us that relates to boys in general is that, what do I do being someone who's been raised by a single mother? Many boys in many communities have become part of this kind of group of people where it's just their mothers raising them up. Which role model do they look up to in the community? What kind of outlets can even the community provide for these people? Because sometimes they're just so removed from the community at the same time.
Understood. Well, in America, we have a statement that a lamb cannot raise a lion. A lamb can't raise a lion. Meaning a woman cannot successfully raise a tough, mentally tough, spiritually tough, physically tough, she can't raise a man by herself, even though there are female lions, right? A lioness or lioness or whatever. And oftentimes they hunt better than the males. So women can be tough. Women can have fortitude. That's a fact. But there are things that she cannot give the child that only a man can give. So what do you do if you don't have a father? My father is dead in a war. My father's in a prison camp. My father didn't make it across the border. My father was killed in the streets. My father's in jail. Or my father, he left my mother because of alcohol, unfortunately, because of the temptations of the dunya. Whatever the reason is, what do I do? Well, you got to understand something, is that Allah's mercy outstretches all things. Allah is too merciful to allow a young man to grow up with no male figure to look up to. Now, they may not be the best male figure, role model. They may not be the most close, but there is somebody out there that can help you and show you the ropes of manhood, whether it's an uncle, a grandfather, an older brother at the masjid. And I don't know how things are in Canada, but I know in my city, in Philadelphia, some parts, the person who showed you how to be a man was a drunk on the corner, or a Vietnam vet, or an ex-pimp, or a heroin user. But he was the only person that was there. And he says, come, I know that your father isn't there. Let me show you what to do. Let me show you what not to do. And obviously the young man, the young boy, he has to navigate through that. But Allah is merciful. Allah placed someone in that boy's path to take him under his wing and to help him out, even if they're negative things that he picks up, or things aren't 100% positive. Like I said, I mean, how much guidance can a drug addict give you? How much guidance can someone who gives you, who used to, be a pimp in the 70s? But that pimp or that drug addict or that war veteran, he may have the compassion and the sympathy and the time for that little boy that he can't find in his dead father or only in his mother. So the answer is that the young man or the young men, they have to look for these. And the mother has to look for them as well. Okay, and many women, they think just because my son doesn't have a father, no one can help him out. Many women, they get remarried and they don't want the stepson to have a connection with the stepfather. They get remarried and they say, this is my son. Don't do this to my son. Don't tell my son what to do. It's my son. You can't discipline my son. Okay, and that's all you hear is my son, my son, my son, my son, my son. So then the new husband, he says, well, how am I supposed to raise him if he's your son? So a part of the problem, a part of the solution is found in the mother. A part of the problem, part of the solution is found in the boy himself. You have to realize that Allah is merciful. And there are men out there, whether they're in the masjid or on the street corner, that will help you navigate through life. And last but not least, the brothers in the community, they have to step up. You see the sister come to the masjid every Friday. She brings her son on the brother's side. There's no one, grab him, take the little boy with you, introduce him to the brothers, invite him to the class, be welcoming, don't shun him. Even if the child comes from a different background or illegitimate background, whatever the case may be, it's a harmless child that's traumatized. Okay, so there is no one person who's responsible. And there's an ancient African proverb that says it takes an entire village to raise one child. That's a fact. So everyone has a piece of the responsibility and the duty, but beware of shaitan and his tricks. Because I didn't have a father, now I'm 21, I can keep smoking weed and drinking alcohol because I didn't have a father. There's no excuse. My father wasn't there, so I can keep shooting people and robbing people. That's no excuse. My father wasn't there, so I can keep abusing women, and that's no excuse. You're a grown man. You're responsible for your actions. Everyone has a piece of the responsibility.
Jazakumullah khair, barakallahu feek, Sheikh. If you have questions, you can definitely send them to the chat or raise your hand up. We have a question from Brother Hanan. Brother Hanan, go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My question is, what actionable steps can a young boy take towards becoming a man?
Barakallah feek, Hanan Aslam, hayakallah. Inshallah, you're well, staying up on your studies, inshallah. What steps can be taken for a young boy to become a man, so on and so forth? The Arabs, they say in the famous line of poetry, "Tashabbahu bil kirami, wa lam takunu mithlahum, inna tashabbuha bil kirami falahu." They say, imitate successful people. Imitate noble people, even if you aren't noble. Imitating noble people is a means of success. So you see the proper manhood in light of Quran and Sunnah. I see this brother, he comes to the masjid. I see this brother, his wife, his children, they're never hungry. They never need anything. He takes good care of them. I see that this brother is there to protect the Muslims. Try to be like them. Imitate them. Copy them. And inshallah ta'ala, you can either be equal to them or better than them. All right? And also, another very important step of becoming a man is to realize the inevitability of becoming a man, that you can't be a boy forever, even if you wanted to. So you might as well embrace it. You might as well accept it, inshallah.
Jazakumullah khair. Barakallahu feek. Inshallah, we have another question from Ammar Abdul Fattah. Go ahead, Ammar.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Hayakallah, Shaykh. Hope you're doing good.
Shafi'i pen, huh?
Nah.
MashaAllah, you switched the logo up.
This is just a black background, huh?
The pen looks different.
It's sideways.
Yeah, okay. Alhamdulillah. Hayakallah.
Hayakallah. طيب, so Sheikh, my question is with regards to an individual who, let's say they have a lot of younger siblings. Me personally, I have 4 younger brothers, and we're very close, and they all have different personalities, different characteristics. So if you want to help them in their quest or journey of growing up, but at the same time, let's say you're traveling, you're not home a lot, how do you continue to like be on their case, help them out, and build that, keep that connection?
First rule is take them with you. Every now and then, take them on a trip. Ask your mom to let them go with you. Okay, a short trip, a long trip, take them with you. And one of the ways of it being easy to take them with you is tell them about your journeys. Tell them about your trips. I mean, just think about how many books you may have read or movies, and people talk about the different conquests. The warriors, we traveled here, we fought this war. They sit around the fire and they tell those stories to the what? To the young people in the village and the tribe. And the young men's like, wow, you guys did this, you guys went here, you guys did this. And next thing you know, they say, take me with you. And that's when people are stowaways. Your little son, he sneaks in your car or he sneaks in the ship and you don't even realize that. So what are you doing here? He says, I want to go with you, father. Mom said no, you said no, I'm too small to go to battle, but I'm going to prove to you that I'm old enough to go to battle with you. So you have to inspire them to be with you. You have to find a common goal or something that you guys can talk about, laugh about, and joke about, and take them with you. All right? Intoxicate them, infect them with your success, with what Allah has given you, what Allah has shown you. And if you can't, then at least tell them about it. And you never know when your little brother's watching or listening. You never know when you have an influence on a person. You may think they're not listening. You may think they're not watching. You may think that they're not soaking up, but trust me, they are. Secondly is use technology. Alhamdulillah, we live in a time in which we can stay in touch with our family members so easily. Do you understand, Yahi, what it meant to make Hajj back in the day? How long a person would be going? Do you understand what it meant to go out, to travel for work, seeking money, conscription into the army? Do you know what it meant? You'd be going for months without seeing your wife, seeing your kids. And nowadays, a woman complains, you didn't call me today. You didn't text me today. I didn't see you today. You didn't send me a funny emoji today. Think about the warriors 200 years ago. They didn't see their husbands for months. And when the people came back to the village, this one is limping, he's missing a leg. This person is laying on a flatbed on the back of a donkey or a horse. That could be my husband who's dead. That could be my husband who doesn't have any limbs anymore in the cause of Allah. So we're a spoiled nation, but one of the problems with our spoiled nation and our generation is that we don't use a technology. FaceTime them, text them, send them jokes, send them advices, send them benefits. Use what Allah has given you. Allah made everything. Allah made everything for the service of man in this world. So that's what I would do. And most importantly is instill in them values. Teach them and give them things to live by and to abide by when you're not there physically. And Allah knows best. And most importantly, last but not least, Ammar, is that all you need is one. If you have 4 brothers and you get the message across to one of them, you recreate yourself in him. That's all you need. And they'll look up to him, so on and so forth, hopefully.
Jazakumullah khair, barakallahu feek, Sheikh. All this beneficial knowledge, jewels that we're benefiting from. Inshallah, we're able to apply these and definitely take our lives forward in the right direction with
Ameen.
these tips.
Ameen.
We have another brother, Tiarno Yunus, and then we have another question in the chat. Brother Tiarno Yunus, you may go ahead.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
سلام الله وبركاته. حياك الله أخي يونس. بارك الله فيك.
كيف حالكم شيخ؟ الحمد
طيبين.
لله. الحمد لله.
I got your email too.
إن شاء الله.
Got the
نعم.
email. وصل.
Okay. جزاك الله خير. So my question is with regards to, let's say, a young man now that wants to, like, move away from, I guess, his mom's, and then just, to go travel to another different city, to establish himself, to get ready to, establish a family. Or, for example, the mother might not necessarily want him to go away as, she loves him. I guess she doesn't want to, she's going to miss him. But she's at a point where she's able to take care of herself. She's not like at a point where she cannot take care of herself. And then there's certain things that's like the best decision for him to move somewhere else. And then she might not feel the same way. So what should the person do? She just stay with the parents, or just
Understood.
What should someone
Understood.
do?
Well, try your best. Get your place that's not too far. Or if you have to travel to a different country, a different city, try your best to make visits, frequent your visits from time to time. Or take your mother with you, like I said, if you can, from time to time. Invite her to stay with you for a month. Invite her to come with you for a trip, a dawah trip. Or come on, me and you, we're going to go to Egypt together to study. Just for a month, I'll take you back, no problem. I want you to come into my world. I want you to see what I do on a daily basis. Why heck of that? Involve them, include them. Okay? All right? So that's first and foremost. Secondly is the woman, like I said, it's her responsibility to be mature and to realize that my son is not a boy, he's a man. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, Eunice. My mother, I'm the only boy. I have 3 older sisters. And the first child that my mother had was actually a boy, but the boy died. He was stillborn. So obviously she was, her heart was broken. It was her first child, married to my father. They had accepted Islam. They got married. And imagine carrying a baby for 9 months. The baby's moving, kicking. Is it a girl? Is it a boy? Does it look like me? Does it look like you? What are we going to name him? And the baby comes out dead. So then she had a girl, mashallah. There's nothing wrong with girls, but she wanted a boy. And finally, she said, I made dua. And when I was pregnant, she says, I rubbed my belly and I knew that Allah had answered my dua. I knew I had a Muhammad in my stomach. So I was born, or whatever the case may be. I was the youngest. I was the only boy. Of course, you can imagine you're the youngest. You're going to be spoiled. You're the youngest. You're going to be cherished. You're the only boy, let alone the dream, right? So when I grew up, and I told my mother of my intentions to go overseas and to study. I want to go to Medina. I don't want to stay in America. I want to go learn. I want to be this. I want to do that. She said, okay, I'll be sad. No doubt. I don't want you to go far. That's a fact. I'm going to cry like a baby. But I'm proud of you. And I want you to go. She said, leave. Follow your dreams. Don't listen to no one. Don't listen to your father. Don't listen to anybody holding you back from your dreams. So just look at this woman now. She's telling me of her own personal feelings, but at the same time, she had the ability to conquer her feelings, to come above. I don't want you to go. I'm sad by you leaving, but at the same time, you have to go. So the mother, she has to realize that you want a boy or you want a young man. You're supposed to have a son that wants to go explore. He wants to spread his wings and soar. You don't want a little chick in the nest eating worms for the rest of his life. So just like we have talks to the brothers, to the fathers, there are talks that are needed for the sisters. And a big problem with women and mothers is that they baby their sons too much. They spoil their sons too much. Well, I mean, what do you want, homie? You're supposed to be happy that I want to be a man and I want to establish my own family. So women, they need maturity mentally as well. All right. So it says, inna al-mu'mineen, Allah says that that they're believers, they're Muslims, there are men, there are munafiqs, male and what? Female. So advice needs to be given to the mother, and you need to try your best to smooth things out as much as you possibly can. Wallahu alam.
Barakallahu feek, Sheikh. We're coming close to the time. I'm not sure if you're on like a clock. If you have any extra time, we can go a little bit over.
We'll
there's
take,
some,
inshallah, one more question, bismillah.
okay.
No problem.
So it depends. There's one question over here in the chat. They asked that, what are some tips that I can do to keep focused on my priorities as a man?
What are the tips to remain focused? I'll give you a quote. Single-mindedness is all powerful. Single-mindedness is all powerful. They have the ability to stop and only one thing exists, and to focus on that thing and to exert all of your time and effort and energy on that one thing is ever powerful. Yeah, you have to relinquish. You got to give up. I want to do this. I want to do this, but let me just focus on one thing at a time. And then it's done. Then you move on to the next thing. So from the things that help you focus is to realize is that everything costs. Nothing is free. Nothing. And if you want a successful project in life, it's going to cost you. And that may cost you time, effort, energy, sacrifice. You have to relinquish other things to get this thing. So that's a very big part of being a grown man, is realizing that you can't be cheap. You have to open up your wallet. I want to successfully seek knowledge, but at the same time, I want to go to school, and you can't do both. You have to give up. You got to pay. You have to relinquish one of the two. And Allah knows best.
Jazakumullah khair, Shaykh.
Yakum.
So I guess we're done with the session for today. And we've come to the time. Jazakumullah khair so much.
Yakum.
Again.
Thank you for making me your guest. I appreciate it. It's my honor.
Sheikh, wallahi, it's my honor. It's my pleasure to host you here. And we watch your videos online. Hadith Disciple is one of those. We ask Allah to put barakah in your work. Before I come and conclude today's session, Brother Ammar wants to speak, so I'll just let him speak. I know he's one of your students.
Barakallahu feek. Ammar is my teacher, not my student.
La, abadan. No, Sheikh, I just wanted to say, inshallah, next year, hopefully we can have you back in person, bi'idhnillah. This year is a bit jammed up because of COVID. But inshallah, next year, hopefully we'll have you with us, inshallah.
You stay focused. We're waiting on you, Ammar. We have big expectations for you.
So,
inshallah,
Sheikh,
keep me in your du'as.
Before we conclude, inshallah, there were a couple of other questions. I just like you, inshallah, if you could plug in, like, where can they ask you questions if they still have questions? I know there's Hadith Disciple Q&A.
Clear. So, well, there are so many different platforms we have. We have the live streams, and many people, we have the classes that are scheduled Wednesday night after Maghrib, Thursday night after Maghrib, Friday night after Maghrib. Those are the main scheduled free public classes. Other than that, you can have class at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. You got to just be on it. And we do that for a reason. Of course, we have our monthly lectures. All right. We have the website. We have the Zoom. There's so many different platforms, free and charge, in which you can ask your questions and your concerns. And I would say available, whatever your schedule or situation may be. Allah knows best.
Perfect. Jazakumullah khair. Once again, barakallahu feek. Hayyakumullah bayyakum.
Allah
so inshallah, we'll wrap up this workshop. And jazakumullah khair, everyone. Wa alaikum assalam wa barakatuh, Shaykh. And everyone, thank you for coming out. And inshallah, we'll be closing. Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.